Hello and welcome to another episode of TianquiztliCreations. I am your host, Elle, and today I wanted to celebrate a bit of a milestone. As many of you know, we started this channel just about 6 months ago, and it's been a lot of fun. Well, we recently just actually had our 500 listen to our channel, so it is very exciting, and we really hope to see our channel continue to grow. So today I have a new topic for us all. Now, this topic, unlike the others that come at random to me, was actually taken from an Instagram poll. As many of you who listen are aware, I started doing these Instagram polls to get a little bit more intuition, a little bit more feedback from our listeners to see what topics interest them. And we had four different topics. This is one of them. I do want to give a shout out to a few of our Instagram followers who participated in the poll. And if I say your Instagram handle wrong, I am sorry. Let me know. I will fix it. Some of these are a little hard to read sometimes, but bear with me. So we have shout outs for Honey Dropped, Natalie Steed, The Pacifist Feminist, MKVI Matt, Izzy GS12, Danny Siski, and last but not least, Kiara's Multimedia. So today's topic, we are talking about tarot history. So many of you, or tarot history, kind of depends on who you ask and how it's said. Because I've heard it both ways. Some people say tarot, some people say tarot. But many of you have heard me talk about tarot overall because it is something that has interested me for quite some time. And so some of our past episodes, you will hear me talk about. Seeking some guidance from the cards. And I have, my special people I like to call. Not everyone is gifted, I would say. So if you do dwell in it, just be careful. Some people are out here just wanting to get your money. I've had that happen to me as well. So I'm not above it. I've also actually have tried different forms of tarot readings, more recently, one of our trips out of town, which I talk about it a lot, and that's because I love going to New Orleans. But we went to New Orleans, and if anyone has been there, there is a plaza um, in the main square, basically, where you will have like a pretty good amount of different tarot readers. Some of them will read like bones out to you. Some of them will do like the tea leaf readings. There's a lot of variety you can find there. But back to our topic here. So, what is tarot, right? Tarot is one of the most popular tools of the divination in the world and can be traced to the late 14th century. Now, I want to say that a little bit more research this time because I've realized that sometimes I pronounce words and it really bothers me when I go back and and listen to my own podcast to edit. So I did a few like pronunciations on some of these words, and believe it or not, some of them I already forgot. And I literally just looked it up like a few minutes ago. But yes, tarot is one of the most popular tools used in the world today, can be traced to the late 14th century. Now, today, tarot cards can be purchased in hundreds of different designs. You have angel cards, zombies, crystals, and even cats. Yes, you can even get tarot cards with cat designs, which is actually pretty cool. I actually want to see if they have dog ones, but now artists in Italy created the first tarot cards, but they weren't called tarot cards. They were known as trump or triumph cards and were made for wealthy families. A number of sets still exist today. The triumph cards were considered a luxury at their inception, but later printed press allowed for mass production and allowed for individuals of the lower class to obtain. Now, tarot cards in both France and Italy were marketed as a parlor game, not a divinatory tool. And they did not gain popularity in how they are used today until the late 16th and early 17th century. And they were much simpler to use than today. So it was more or less like a card game. Didn't have, as strong as a spiritual meaning as they do today. In 1781, a French Freemason by the name of Antoine Court de Gibelin published a document in which he revealed that the symbolism and the design derived from an Egyptian priest. But unfortunately, there was no real historical evidence to support this claim. A decade later, in 1791, Jean Baptiste Alliot, a French occultist, released the first tarot deck designed specifically for divinatory purposes. As occult interest in the tarot grew, it became more associated with the Kabbalah and the secrets of Hermetic mysticism. Now, I did take a bit of information from reformjudaism.org because I wasn't quite sure what Kabbalah was. So, as they described it, Kabbalah sometimes translated as mysticism or occult knowledge is part of Jewish tradition that deals with the essence of God. Whether it entails a sacred text, an experience, or the way things work, Kabbalists believe that God moves in mysterious ways. However, Kabbalists also believe that true knowledge and understanding of that inner mysterious process are obtainable, and through that knowledge, the greatest intimacy with God can be attained. Now, by the end of the Victorian era, occultism and spiritualism had become popular pastimes for upper class families. It was pretty normal to attend house parties with great eats and seances. Now, I'm sure many of us have actually watched either TV shows or movies where it was pretty normal pastime, where, they would have these pretty extravagant parties. And at the end, you have a circle of people on a table trying to contact ghosts or, have someone come in and do some kind of, tarot reading or something like that. So it's just like the movies, pretty much. Like this was a big thing then, and it was mostly popular with like upper class families. I know one of my like favorite movies that I remember this is I'm trying to remember. It was Nicole Kidman, and I was definitely again too young to watch this movie, but it's the one where she's trying to protect her children because she thinks that they have some kind of disease where they can't be touched by the sunlight. So they kind of live in the dark. And she hires like this maid and this like gardener to help her. And they kind of think she's kind of weird, Um, man, what is the name of this movie? I'm always blanking out. But it's an old one. It's for sure. It's an old one. Let me go ahead and just Google that real quick because it's gonna bother me if I don't. The Others. So I'm sure many of you have watched The Others. The scene in there basically is what I thought about when I started reading into my research about this, because it's a perfect example of how people didn't quite understand what was going on in the home, but they were open to this kind of investigation even then, right? And you can always kind of go back into like book research and stuff too, and you'll see like it was pretty normal to have these seances. So centuries later, many individuals either practice forms of spiritualism that include reading tarot cards for themselves or others. Many religious groups can still consider the practice of this as taboo, while others think of it as a fun pastime and nothing more. But what do you think? Can these individuals truly connect to a higher being and provide insight into the future, or guidance to good luck and prosperity? Or do you think it's all lies and they're just coming for your money? It is a very interesting question because I gotta say, more times than not when I was younger and I was interested in the topic, especially after seeing like, commercials on TV for like, these over the top tarot card readers, that you had to call in to pay and get like your cards read. I thought this is just a bunch of lies. They're just wanting your money. And I'm sure at one point when I was younger, I tried to call. Um, and I might have said this, before. But as I grew older and kind of began my own search for like what types of spiritualism I wanted to practice, and religion and things like that, is pretty normal growing up. You're curious about these things. um, I started to definitely learn more and more as to why maybe individuals reach out to these gifted, or who they think are gifted, into other people, right? Other individuals who can read or can connect in this way to something spiritual. And a lot of times it's simply grief, you know grief, confusion. I can say that more times than not, I have seen where families will reach out to people who can read tarot and other forms of spiritualism, because maybe they lost someone unexpectedly and they want to reconnect, or maybe someone has gone missing and they want to know what happened to them. So, and I'm sure, if you are into like crime documentaries or like series like I am, you'll see it from time to time. Like they will call in a someone that can see things that maybe we can't. And I don't really know if most cases, it's something turned up, with them, with their findings, but I definitely have seen it. So again, like I said, sometimes these topics, can be a little bit difficult to understand, but there's always like a bigger, I would say, a bigger reason behind them. But that's all I got for you today. Thank you for listening as always, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day.